Hi, my name is Janice Seiferts and my husband is Bill. We've been very active in Koinonia. It's been part of our life for many years. It all started probably back in the 60s when my father was pastor of Oceanside Lutheran Church in Oceanside, Long Island, New York. And he heard about the gift that was given to the church of this land up here. And so he brought it in front of the council to have some interested people contributed to it, and it was not looked on too favorably. But a few people honored his request, so Oceanside Lutheran Church became part of the Martin Luther Camp Corporation. And of course, me being his daughter and his wife, we accepted the invitation to come up here in the spring of 1961 to look at the farmhouse. And in that farmhouse, some women had bought bolts and bolts of unbleached muslin and trims for curtains. So that day, we measured the windows and the curtains. The material was taken back to churches, and those curtains were made. And I would say those curtains lasted about 30 years. But before that, I forgot the day of the dedication. No, okay, it was after that, because at this point I had a second child, and the day of the dedication, it was a pouring rain, and we came up to it. It was in the field by the farmhouse. We had a 3-year-old and an infant, and in the pouring rain, I remember a young man just coming and grabbing the children from our arms, and that was the first hint that I realized how much people cared for each other up here on that rainy day. Okay, as the years went on, our church became very active in the family camp. We would rent blocks of campsites, and the kids all played together, and it was just a wonderful time, family camping. Then a lot of the kids became campers up here. Our daughter was a counselor, and our son came from about 3rd grade to age 16, and he has written a blurb in one of the Koinonia stories. But he was so excited being active in the homestead site, and because he had ridden a horse, he was selected to lead the oxen through the grounds that they had chopped down trees to lay the foundation of the homestead. So the homestead was very special to him. I do have to quote something that I thought was so funny. He was talking about at the campsites, everybody knows that the kids ate their breakfast and lunch, but they had to pack out the night before their food. And he writes in his memories, I have to quote this, "In the trail building, in the big middle room where our food would be ready to pack up to bring on site for the next day was something to the effect, a sign, 'Ask and it shall be given, knock and the door shall be opened, seek and ye shall get clobbered,'" meaning that they didn't want the kids just fussing around finding all this stuff. So as the years went on, we continued to come up here, and our daughter was a counselor, like I said. And as we grew older, our trips to Koinonia got a little less. We did have a series, I forgot an important part. We did have a time in 1983, 1984 when Bill and I came up and lived at Koinonia. He was a maintenance director, and I was in charge of the cooking, the nurse, and just general hospitality. Because at that point, the wings had just been added. We were here when the wings were being built. So those first couple months, we had loads of new retreats. All the bedding and the curtains had to be put up. It was a very, very busy time. We had a staff of about 30, and that included some CLC, some of the alternate high school kids. And we just worked very hard getting this conference center in functioning. One very important thing that I forgot. Can you cut this out? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you can, I can break it up. You want to sit down? And,
yeah.
Go ahead, sit down and talk.
I forgot all about the house.
Where were you?
Oh, now I'm a mess.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
One important thing I forgot was in the beginning years, my father-in-law came across a prefab house that was a gift, and for $500 transportation, the Lakeside Retreat Center came into building, and it was a prefab house, but the instructions after it was delivered were all in Spanish. But they finally put that together, and for years our kids at Oceanside always went to the Lakeside Retreat Center because that was kind of the Oceanside house.
Yeah, that's where I just was with John Asdale, and he was, the director, business facilities director, I believe. And so I found a picture of the house under construction, and so I thought it would be neat to recapture some of John's memories of the construction of it and how he handled the whole structure. The house was scheduled for Puerto Rico as part of a development.
So that was probably about sometime in the 60s, probably. This all started in about 1960. So our last big efforts as Bill's big effort was the Agape Room. My son heard of a builder that was very favorable in the community about an hour from here, and someone else heard of an architect, so the architect and the builder worked very well together, and Bill helped Steve Lee put in the Agape Room. So I guess that's we've always come here for our celebrations and retreats. It's been a part of our life and our children's lives.